There's a part of modern love that no one warns men about, a shadow game that doesn't show up until you've already proven yourself strong. It doesn't appear when you're needy, desperate, or easy to control. It appears the moment you become the man she can't easily move, calm, ambitious, and untied to her approval. That's when the energy shifts, the warmth cools, the laughter fades, and while you're left wondering what went wrong, something far deeper has begun. The test. Because when a woman meets a man whose silence carries more power than her words, it stirs something ancient in her. Fear. Fear of losing control, fear of falling for a man she cannot command. And fear never arrives politely. It hides behind distance, pride, and small doses of confusion. She'll say she needs space, go quiet, or act indifferent. But what she's really doing is asking one silent question. Is his calm real, or is it an act? This is the hidden dance of attraction, the moment where her chaos reaches for your peace to see if it holds. And most men fail here, not because they're weak, but because they mistake testing for rejection. Drop a one if you've ever felt that sudden chill. The confusion, the panic, the "what did I do wrong" moment when her warmth vanished overnight. Drop a two if you've learned to stay calm when it happens, to let silence speak louder than fear. Like this video so more men searching for strength can find it. Subscribe to Stoic Station, where men rebuild their calm, one truth at a time. Start this journey now. Because once you understand the psychology behind that silence, you stop chasing her confusion and start mastering your own. Let's dive in. On. When she pushes away the man she actually wants. It's twisted, brother. The moment she finally meets the kind of man her heart has been quietly longing for, something inside her rebels. She should feel at peace, but instead she feels exposed, drawn to your calm, to that quiet certainty that doesn't depend on her validation. She suddenly realizes something terrifying. If she truly opens up to a man like you, she could lose him. And for a woman who has built her strength on control, that's the most frightening feeling of all. So she does what fear always does. It hides behind pride. She becomes distant, cold, unpredictable. She convinces herself she's protecting her heart, but what she's really doing is testing yours. You're not being rejected, you're being measured. Not because you're unworthy, but because you're the first man whose absence would actually leave a mark. That's why she steps back, why she goes quiet, why she pretends not to care. She wants you more than she can admit, but needing you makes her feel vulnerable, and vulnerability feels like danger. This is the paradox few men understand. When she starts to care deeply, her instinct is not to hold tighter. It's to pull away and watch what you'll do next. She withdraws to see if you'll chase, to see if your calm breaks when she turns cold. If you do chase, she feels safe, but loses respect. If you don't, she feels uncertain, but starts to crave that steady energy that can't be moved by fear. In that tension between her craving and her confusion, the real test begins. She's not looking for perfection, she's looking for proof. Proof that your steadiness isn't an act, that your peace is real enough to hold her storms without losing your center. So don't panic. Don't try to decode every mood or fix every silence. That's not your job. Your only task is to remain grounded, to show through your stillness that your worth isn't up for negotiation. The truth is, her pulling away is not a punishment. It's a mirror. It reveals how deep your strength runs when she tries to shake it. And the moment your calm makes her question her chaos, everything changes, because that's when she realizes that your silence isn't indifference, it's mastery. She doesn't push you away because she doesn't care. She does it because she cares too much. And when a woman who's used to control meets a man who can stay calm in her storm, her fear starts to fade, and her respect begins to grow. That's where every real connection starts, not in her comfort, but in your composure. Now ask yourself, when she pulled away, did you chase her fear, or did you let your silence remind her why she wanted you in the first place? 2. Control is born from fear. It's strange, brother. When a woman feels the deepest connection, that's often when her need for control appears. Not because she's manipulative, but because she's afraid. Every act of control hides one truth: the fear of losing what feels too powerful to hold. When she senses that your calm gives you strength, her instinct isn't to surrender to it, it's to tighten her grip. Her voice changes, her tone sharpens, and suddenly the woman who once moved with ease starts reaching for emotional levers she promised herself she'd never pull. It's not always obvious. You'll see it in quiet moments, the way she questions your peace, the irritation that rises when you don't react, the subtle criticism that makes no sense. What she's really saying beneath those words is, "I can't relax until I know you still care." It's not a conscious plan, it's a reflex built on fear. Fear that your independence means you could live, love, and walk away without needing her. Here's the paradox. The calmer you are, the more her fear spikes. Because most women have been conditioned to associate chaos with passion, they mistake arguments for intensity, tears for proof, tension for love. So when you don't argue, when you don't chase, when you don't feed the drama, she starts to question reality. Why isn't he fighting back? Does he not care? Her system can't process peace as safety yet. It feels like distance. And that's when she starts a small emotional war, not to destroy you, but to feel close again through conflict. But here's where most men fall. They step into the battle she created. They argue, explain, reassure, prove. They think they're building trust, but what they're really doing is feeding her fear, confirming that chaos still controls the connection. You don't win that war by fighting. You win it by not entering. You hold your center. You don't match her fear with explanation. You let your calm do the speaking. Because when you remain still, her nervous system starts to feel something she's rarely known: safety without struggle. The truth is, her control isn't dominance. It's panic dressed as power. It's her way of asking, "Can I trust the peace you bring, or will it disappear the moment I relax?" When you understand that, compassion replaces frustration. You stop reacting and start leading. You stop defending your calm and start embodying it. You become the steady ground she didn't know she needed. And when the storm finally burns itself out, she'll see it clearly. Your silence was never weakness, it was leadership. Your restraint wasn't distance, it was mastery. Because real strength isn't proven in argument, it's revealed in stillness. Now ask yourself, brother, when her fear tried to pull you into chaos, did you lose your calm to prove your love? Or did you let your composure remind her what real safety feels like? 3. The chaos test. It's a cruel irony, brother. The moment you bring peace into her life is often the moment she starts to fight it. When peace feels foreign, chaos becomes her comfort zone. Some women have lived so long in emotional storms that stillness feels unsafe. They've been taught that intensity equals love, that drama equals connection. So when they finally meet a man who offers calm, it doesn't feel like safety. It feels like danger. Because peace to them is unfamiliar. It's not that she wants chaos for the sake of it. It's that her nervous system only knows how to trust turbulence. So when she senses peace, she doesn't relax. She tests it. She'll provoke you with sharp words or long silences, push you to react, compare you to others, or pull away just to see if you'll chase. She's not trying to destroy the connection, she's trying to confirm it. She's asking silently, "Is his calm real, or will it disappear when I push too hard?" And this is where many good men lose themselves. Believing love means constant reassurance, you rush in to fix it, explaining, defending, chasing the calm that was never yours to chase. But here's the cruel truth. Every time you try to fix her storm, she feels less safe, not more, because your reaction tells her your peace was an act, that your strength depends on her validation, that your stillness is fragile. What she truly wants isn't your argument or your words. It's to feel that your presence can contain her chaos. She doesn't want you to fight her storms. She wants to feel that you can stand in the middle of them without flinching, that your heart doesn't panic when she loses hers. So don't try to prove you're calm, embody it. Don't argue to restore peace, be the peace. Let her fire burn itself out against the wall of your silence, because when flame meets stone, it dies on its own. She'll eventually realize your calm wasn't passivity, it was power. You can't fix her storm, brother. You can only stand through it. And when you do, she stops confusing chaos with love and begins to see what real safety feels like. The moment you stop matching her fire is the moment she finally learns that your stillness isn't distance, it's strength. 4. When a man starts to panic. The most dangerous moment in any connection isn't when she pulls away, brother. It's when you start to panic. It doesn't happen all at once. It begins quietly, almost invisibly. One day her texts feel colder, her tone shorter, her attention starts to fade. You notice it. You tell yourself not to overthink, but deep down you feel the shift. And that's when anxiety creeps in. Suddenly, you're not leading with calm anymore. You're reacting with fear. You start reaching out more, sending long messages, explaining things that don't need explanation, apologizing for things you didn't even do. You begin chasing a feeling that used to come effortlessly, her warmth, her attention, her approval. You call it love, but it isn't. It's fear. Fear of not being enough. Fear of losing what gave you validation. Fear of silence that feels like punishment. The cruel truth is this. Every time you panic, she doesn't feel more loved. She feels less safe. Because your reaction tells her something she didn't expect to learn about you. Her moods can move you. Her distance can shake you. And if a little uncertainty can dismantle your calm, how will you hold steady when real storms come? She doesn't always think this consciously, but she feels it deeply. He's not as strong as I thought. And once that thought enters her mind, the dynamic begins to shift. Attraction fades. Respect follows. Not because you stopped caring, but because you cared in a way that came from fear instead of confidence. You thought you were fighting for love, but you were really fighting against yourself, against that desperate urge to control what was never yours to control. Understand this: love never grows in panic. It only grows in peace. The more you try to chase what's pulling away, the faster it slips through your hands. The man she respected, the man who led with quiet conviction, vanishes the moment you try to convince her to stay. True strength doesn't beg, doesn't argue, doesn't chase. It stands still. Because the man who knows his worth doesn't need to be chosen to know he's valuable. So, when her energy shifts, don't rush to fix what might not even be broken. Don't flood her silence with noise. Don't explain yourself into weakness. Let your composure speak louder than your words ever could. She's not testing how much you care. She's revealing how deeply you trust yourself. Her withdrawal doesn't test your worth. It reveals your center. The moment you stop panicking is the moment she starts to see what kind of man you really are. Because in a world full of men who crumble at distance, the one who can stay grounded becomes unforgettable. And that's your quiet power, brother. The ability to love without begging, to care without losing balance, to stay calm when her storm tries to pull you in. That's the man she can finally trust, not because you chased her, but because you didn't. 5. The frame. She tries to break. Brother, every test she throws isn't random. It's aimed at one thing: your frame. That invisible foundation that defines your identity, your boundaries, and your direction in life. Your frame is what keeps your emotions balanced, your mission intact, and your presence grounded. It's not something you say out loud. It's something you live. It's the quiet line that says, "This is who I am, and this is how I move through the world." She doesn't try to break your frame because she's cruel. She does it because she needs to know if it's real. If your calm disappears the moment she disapproves, it wasn't calm, it was compliance. And no woman respects compliance. She respects conviction. A man who can stand firm in who he is, even when it's inconvenient for her emotions. That's not arrogance, that's integrity. So she'll question your priorities, challenge your goals, accuse you of being distant when you're simply focused. She'll say things that test your resolve. You've changed. You don't care anymore. You're too focused on yourself. But it's not really about those words. It's not about the details. It's about direction. What she's truly asking beneath those moments of frustration is, will he abandon himself to keep me? If the answer is yes, if you bend, over-explain, and reshape your purpose to win her approval, she'll get what she thought she wanted, but lose what she respected. Because the man who sacrifices his own center to keep her happy slowly becomes a version of himself she can't admire. And when admiration dies, attraction follows. But if the answer is no, if you hold steady in your path and protect your sense of self, she might resent it at first. She might call you cold or detached, accuse you of not being emotionally available. Don't take the bait, because deep down that resistance is respect forming in disguise. It's her realizing that your direction isn't negotiable, that your peace isn't up for sale. Over time, that becomes the very thing she trusts most about you, your stability. The frame of a man is not about control, it's about clarity. It's the structure that tells the world, and her, that you live by principle, not pressure. So don't explain your purpose, embody it. Don't announce your boundaries, live them. The moment you start justifying your discipline, you've already surrendered it. A woman feels safest with a man who doesn't need to prove his strength because his actions already do. When your frame holds, she feels something rare. Safety in your certainty, and that safety doesn't come from you giving in to her every demand. It comes from you standing tall when she's not sure of herself. So stay on your path. Protect your focus. Let her emotions rise and fall without losing sight of your mission. You're not here to be led by emotion. You're here to anchor it. Because the man who holds his frame doesn't lose women. He loses chaos. And when the noise fades and the dust settles, she'll see it too, that the calm she once fought against was never indifference. It was the kind of strength that only men with purpose possess. Now, ask yourself, brother, when she tried to shake your center, did you bend to be loved? Or did you stand tall so love could rise to meet you? 6. The shift when you stay centered. There comes a moment, brother, when everything changes, not because she apologizes, not because you finally explain yourself, but because you stop reacting. The second you choose silence over chaos, the entire game begins to collapse. At first, that calm terrifies her. She's used to men who break, who chase, who rush to fix the discomfort. So when you don't, when your energy stays steady while hers spirals, it confuses her. The more grounded you remain, the more she turns up the pressure. Colder texts, sudden silence, emotional bait. Anything to see if she still has power over your peace. Most men crack here. They mistake calm for distance and try to fill the silence with explanations. They chase to prove love, argue to regain connection, or beg to feel seen again. But the few who don't, the few who stand still in the storm, shift the entire dynamic without saying a word. Because silence forces truth. When her emotional tactics no longer move you, she's left alone with her own reflection. She realizes the control she thought she had wasn't over you, it was over her. And now that your peace isn't reacting to her fear, she has to face the one thing she's been avoiding, herself. This is the turning point, the clarity moment. She begins to see what your calm really was. It wasn't weakness, it wasn't indifference, it was strength. Quiet, disciplined, and deeply masculine strength. You didn't ignore her to punish her. You simply stopped feeding the drama. You didn't withdraw love, you withdrew chaos. And in doing so, you made her feel something she couldn't before, the weight of her own actions. Now she faces a choice. She can rise into your peace, or she can run back to her comfort zone of emotional control. Either way, you win. Because when a man stops chasing chaos, he stops losing himself. You gain back your focus, your dignity, your rhythm. You become untouchable, not because you're cold, but because you're centered. A woman can only respect what she cannot shake. And when your energy no longer bends under her fear, something profound happens. She starts to see you differently. Your silence becomes the loudest truth in the room. It tells her that you're not seeking her validation, you're honoring your peace. And for the first time, she realizes the one thing she can't control is also the only thing she can trust. So hold that line. Don't flinch when the pressure rises. Don't explain your calm, embody it. Because when fear meets a man who won't fold, fear loses its power. And that's the moment everything shifts. When she stops testing your strength and starts craving the safety that only your stillness can create. 7. The final lesson every man must learn. Brother, here's the hardest truth a man must face. Love without respect isn't love at all. It's slow emotional erosion disguised as devotion. Most men don't learn this until they've already bled for it. They believe if they keep giving more, apologizing faster, explaining deeper, somehow the relationship will heal. They confuse effort with leadership, sacrifice with strength. But every time you trade your backbone for her comfort, you lose a piece of what made her love you in the first place. She might say she wants more reassurance, more closeness, more attention. And you'll give it, thinking it'll make her feel safe. But when it comes from fear, it always backfires. Because no woman can truly trust a man who needs her approval to feel like a man. She might enjoy the control for a while, but deep down, something shifts. The protector becomes the pleaser. The man she once looked up to starts asking for permission to lead, and the moment she senses that, attraction begins to fade. The truth is brutal, but freeing. The only love that endures is born from respect, and respect always begins with boundaries. You're not here to earn peace, you're here to protect it. You're not here to be chosen, you're here to choose wisely. That means knowing when to give and when to step back, when to speak and when silence says more, when to hold space and when to walk away. A man's greatest strength isn't how much he can give, it's how much of himself he refuses to lose. Stay kind, but firm. Open, but unshakable. Generous, but never at the expense of your dignity. Because the man who can love deeply without abandoning himself is the only man a woman will ever truly trust. She doesn't fall for your compliance. She falls for your conviction. She doesn't need your constant reassurance. She needs to feel your steadiness when her world wavers. That's what creates true safety. Not your words, but your presence. Not your promises, but your peace. So, brother, stop trading your spine for her smile. She didn't fall in love with your surrender. She fell for your strength. The kind of strength that stays calm when emotions rise. The kind that leads without control, that loves without losing itself. Because when you live from that place, when your peace is no longer negotiable, you don't just earn her respect. You remind her what real love feels like. And that's the final lesson every man must learn. The love that lasts is the one you build standing tall, not the one you beg for on your knees. Brother, you've seen the full picture now. How her silence isn't rejection, but a test of your center. How her chaos isn't hatred, but fear searching for safety. And how your peace, your discipline, your frame are the anchors that turn confusion into clarity. When she pulls away, when she tests, when she challenges your direction, it's not to destroy you, it's to see if your strength is real. Because only a man who can stay calm in her storm can teach her heart what safety truly feels like. So don't chase her fear, don't explain your calm, don't trade your soul for her approval. Stand tall, lead with silence. Let your composure speak the language of respect, because the man who holds his frame doesn't lose women, he loses chaos. And when fear meets a man who won't fold, fear learns peace. If this message reached you, claim it now. Like and subscribe to Stoic Station, where men rebuild their calm, one truth at a time. And tell me, brother, when she tested your peace, did you stand firm in silence, or did you let her storm decide who you are? I'll see you in the next video, where we uncover what truly happens when she realizes your calm was never an act. It was power. When she pulled away to test your strength, did you break, or did you become the silence that made her see your power? I'll see you in the next video, where we'll go deeper into how your absence reshapes everything she thought she controlled.